Hello, my name is Tim Huckabee, and welcome to Bytes by MSDN Special Windows 8 version. Today, our guest is Joe Stegman. Joe, thank you so much for coming.
It's great to be here.
So, Joe, I met you when you were like a young 20s PM. You marched on stage, and you did the most amazing Windows form. In 7 minutes, you built the Outlook interface. Look how far your career has come. Now you're a group program manager on the Windows team.
That's right, yeah.
Amazing.
And the 7 minutes took me about 4 weeks to prepare for. It was really painful, but it went over super well, and it was my first start into UI for Windows.
Honestly, the first kind of design sessions that we had in conferences. I remember it vividly. But let's cut to today. You're still doing kind of the same focus, yet your job entails a lot more. Can you mind telling the audience about that?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been at Microsoft for about 14 years and started out way back when.
How time flies.
Yeah, doing some actually consulting, but then doing some UI stuff in Windows Forms, which is great. Then I worked on something called Silverlight for a number of years, and that led me to doing really developer platform and UI in Windows. And so right now I basically had a number of things in the developer platform, but mostly I focus on building, how do you build UI, high fidelity user interface experiences on Windows.
Yeah, and I think it's important that, especially as we follow your career, that us XAML people, our investments are still going to be good in WinRT, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the reason I'm in Windows, is because really bring forward that XAML and UI experience into Windows so that people can have these first-class experiences using the technology they love, which may be XAML, it may be HTML, but that's what I've done, is I've basically been working on bringing that great experience that a lot of people are used to Windows in a way that really lights up Windows and makes it so your apps really excel on the Windows platform. And it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so why don't you elaborate a little bit on what that means? How is that manifested, these great user experiences, and why is that different in WinRT app?
Yeah, so you can think of it at a fundamental level. There are some intrinsic controls, button, toggle button, and when you look at those and think about those in, from a XAML perspective, and you look at them on Windows 8, they're pretty much the markup looks the same. But in Windows 8, one of the things that we did is that previously from Silverlight or WPF, where in those environments we had to worry about, I'll say, multiple platforms. In Silverlight it was portable, and in WPF it had to worry about down-level Windows platforms. In Windows 8, we were sort of liberated in being able to focus on just building on top of the latest and greatest subsystems. So when we brought XAML to Windows 8, we were able to fully depend on DirectX and the latest version of DirectX and the latest version of the input system and the latest version of the media stack. And it enabled us to create this high fidelity experience. But additionally, we had to focus on a touch experience. And some of the previous UI platforms, whether it's Windows Forms, whether it's WPF, whether it's Silverlight, you can think of those were focused on kind of the keyboard and mouse type environments, where we were able to start sort of from the ground up and say, hey, how do we take this in such a way that we create a great experience for, I'll say, the touch users and the mobile users, where you have to think about independent animations and not clicking with the mouse, but clicking with your finger. And there's really a lot of work we had to do to sort of bring out the greatest experience for touch users in that environment.
And we can't get through this without talking about the tools and how the tools help in this process, right?
Oh, yeah. And so one of the important things we did was, which I'd have to mention, is that one of the big things is we made it so that you could, I'll say, we took all the investment we had made and made it work from a native layer up. So in other words, the XAML, if you will, XAML UI is all a native-based UI, which allows us to, via WinRT, project it into multiple languages. And so we had to the tools had to change a little bit, because in some ways they were dependent on, if you will, a managed environment. And so the tools, there was a tremendous amount of work to get the tools so that you get this great experience now in C++ for building if you will, a Windows 8 app, but a Windows 8 XAML app.
Right.
And that is a huge investment. So even though the tools themselves are absolutely phenomenal, when you think about the fact that now we have an ability to build native, if you will, C++-based apps using the tools with XAML, the stuff you may know and love, it's just incredibly powerful and an incredible amount of work that took place to make that happen.
Yeah, a Herculean engineering effort.
Absolutely.
On your side.
I could sit here and talk literally for the next 2 hours about all the things we did.
And I would love to do that.
The fact that you can use XAML UI with DX content in a native or even managed way today is just so powerful.
Right.
It's one of those things, in Windows we wish we had 10 years ago.
Sure.
But there are things like that just so much time and effort went into building that. And I look at it today and I look at the kinds of apps people are building on Windows 8, the great experiences they're able to build with this technology. And I love it. I get super excited about seeing it.
Obviously, your passion comes out when you talk about it.
It is.
I wish I had more time to spend with you today. So what's your takeaway? What's the call to action for the audience?
Well, as you can tell, I'm super excited about building the apps and how well and how easy the platform makes that. Any developer out there who's either built a previous app or thinking about building an app, go out and build an app. Go to the Windows Developer Center, go to the generationapp.com and see the resources that allow you to build a great app on Windows 8. And I think people find it's easy, simple, and if they come with any sort of Microsoft background, I think they'll find that it feels right at home. And
totally
be able to get their app out quickly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe.
Sure.
Appreciate your
Happy
time
to be here
today. And thank you guys for watching.